Welcome to Takeover, the most underrated sports debate show on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe for that weekly sports content. And who are you again?
Well, Cam, they should already know my name, but if they just turn this off for background noise, and they haven't been paying attention, as they already know, my name is Josh.
It's your boy Cam, and this is Takeover. And I know, hold on. Before you play the intro, we know Deandra's gonna edit this. Before you play the intro, it's just me and Josh today. Deandra has some things to do, but it only takes two to take over. So cue the intro.
Yo, hey champ. Yo, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind all the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Not that holding me back. 3 in the wood. Rush.
All right, so for our first topic of the day, we haven't talked about football in a while, Cam. And since we're in the dead period of the offseason where they've already done mandatory mini camps, now's the best time to have those meaningless conversations about who's better than who has a better legacy, who would you rather have? And since the most hotly contested thing in the NFL, other than if Tom Brady apparently is overrated according to our fans, um, is who's the best wide receiver. And we've narrowed it down to two, and we're going to have a conversation about those two today. So, Cam, who would you rather have? Cooper Kupp or Davante Adams?
Respect to the Triple Crown winner, but Davante Adams is overall the better receiver, and I think that's due to the fact that his ability to make plays after the catch, and he's actually a number one receiver on a team. He used to be on a team. Well, he used to be on a team that didn't really have any other options. I mean, he had Alan Lazard and not a lot on the outside, meaning that teams could really double cover him, at least shadow him, at least with two defenders. And even when he was shadow, he still finished top five in the NFL in receiving touchdowns. And I think Cooper Kupp has honestly benefited off of Sean McVay and especially some of the other receivers that he's had. He's had Robert Woods, he's had Odell Beckham Jr. and before the Rams were running a zone run scheme with Todd Gurley, which really took the pressure off of Jared Goff to make those throws, which were to guys like Cooper Kupp. And I would say, due to that fact, he's had more one-on-one opportunities than he's had more one-on-one opportunities than Davante Adams. Because when you have all that space and you have people taking it away, I feel like you're definitely let free to do more things. While Davante Adams is having to be guarded by three people, and you gotta think about it. Davante Adams over the past season, he only dropped 3 passes compared to Cooper Kupp's 8. I mean, he's still really effective. And according to Fox Sports metrics, he's caught 96% of every ball that was catchable thrown by Aaron Rodgers. Which meaning if you throw it up to him, whether it's a jump ball or anything, most likely that guy's coming down with it. And I feel like taking Cooper Kupp over Davante Adams, respectfully, would be like taking Julian Edelman over Chad Ochocinco. And this is why I say this. Julian Edelman is a really good playoff receiver. His playoff stats blow Chad's out of the water. But if we're just talking about receiver to receiver, which person would you have? You would definitely take Chad Ochocinco because he's the better physical specimen. We've seen what Chad Ochocinco does, but it was all about the system that he was in. And that's not disrespect towards Julian Edelman or Cooper Kupp. But I'm just saying, if we're talking from a talent aspect, we're talking about an overall aspect, I feel like we'd definitely take Davante Adams over Cooper Kupp. And if you need a guy, whether it's a screen pass, a slant pass, a fade route, I would take Davante Adams over anybody in the NFL.
I think anytime you have a conversation, especially in football, about like skill position talent or anything that isn't like a quarterback, more often than you always have to kind of take scheme into account because so much of it is dependent. Because if somebody plays in like the Tennessee Titans, AJ Brown is a fantastic receiver, but he doesn't put up the raw numbers that you would expect him to put up because he plays in such a run heavy scheme. So you try to take into account the scheme, and I think that's part of the reason why Cooper Kupp, as you said, won the Triple Crown last year because he's having plays called by arguably the best play caller in the NFL. He finally had a good quarterback. He didn't have to make Jared Goff look mediocre. He was able to play off Matthew Stafford, and he also had supporting talent around him, which, as you said, Davante Adams hasn't had. So in terms of like blow by blow, like side by side, I definitely would take Davante Adams personally, but I also don't think it's that simple because, like I said, it depends on what you're trying to get out of a receiver. Davante Adams is a fantastic outside receiver because he's so big and also quick enough to where he can beat bracket coverage. similar to Julio Jones in a lot of ways. He's not the same athletic freak, but he's got a lot of those things. But Cooper Kupp, I think, is a little bit better on the short to intermediate routes. In that he is so good with his footwork that he's able to make copious amounts of space off of just like very simple moves. I mean, they've created routes for him in the Sean McVay playbook. So he's clearly really good, and he doesn't let the fact that he has a 4.6 40 time hold him back. So while I would take Davante Adams in terms of he can absolutely be an unquestioned 100 number one receiver, no questions asked, like any system, anytime. I'm not gonna like say that it's like a landslide because Cooper Kupp is so good at so many other things. He's got good hands. He's a really good route runner, and also I don't think he views himself as the number one, so he's willing to be the decoy a ton of the time. Davante Adams probably hasn't had to do that a lot because Green Bay their entire offense was basically find him and get him the ball. But I think they're 1 and 2 easily. I think they're 1 and 2 easily. I would take Davante Adams because I prefer bigger, more physical receivers, which is why I was a big fan of the Drake London pick for the Falcons. But Cooper Kupp is fantastic.
You would take Kupp over Hopkins?
Well, considering the Hopkins was taking roids, apparently, yeah. I don't mess with that PED stuff, man. I'm a baseball fan. We don't like that kind of stuff over here.
I feel you. Who do you think will have the better season now that Adams is with Derek Carr and the rest of the Raiders' weapons, and Cooper Kupp's in the same system still?
I think Cooper will have a better statistical season because he already had a better statistical season last year, and now there's more people to eat up targets in Las Vegas. Not just because there's also Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, but also because they actually have like a ground game that they actually might want to like focus on. Because last year Green Bay didn't use Aaron Jones the way that people kind of thought they were going to use Aaron Jones. Now he's going to have to be on a team with Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake, and I think there's one other guy that they brought in. So I would go with Cooper Kupp on top of the fact that Robert Woods isn't there anymore. I think that they lost Tyler Higbee too, and then Odell Beckham still hurt. So right now it's just him and Allen Robinson and Van Jefferson. So Cooper's gonna have a better statistical season, but like I said, I'd rather have Davante because of his size.
I can definitely agree with that. So moving on to the NBA, shockwaves last week. Kyrie and KD won out. But we're talking about the man himself. We want to talk about Kevin Durant. Josh, he said he want to leave. What would be the best ideal spot for Kevin Durant to go?
Before I get into that, I'm going to officially revoke my status as a Kevin Durant defender and supporter because I cannot defend this move considering that he handpicked his teammate. He handpicked where they wanted to go. He handpicked another teammate for them to bring in and mortgage their entire future, and they won one playoff series together. So I revoke almost everything I've ever said about Kevin Durant and how his move from Oklahoma was justified. Whatever. He is a
So
punk.
Cam isn't crazy.
Cam was not crazy. Now I get it. I kind of understood the Warriors move. Looking back, it's harder to understand, but I still would get it. Now he picked his spot, couldn't deliver, and now he's asking out. So he's leaving a wake of destruction either way. And the Warriors won a title without him. So, how much of it was really him. Looking at the landscape, the issue is a lot of the teams that either have the money or the assets to bring him in don't have any reason to bring him in, like Orlando or OKC, because they're attempting to suck and get Victor Wembanyama. There are a few teams out there that obviously could go after him. He is named, I think, Miami and Phoenix as the main two. I don't see the Miami thing working out. First of all, because the moment Jimmy Butler gets in his face, Kevin Durant's never showing up again because he's a little soft, Charmin, ultra strong basketball player. And also, he wants to go there while Miami holds on to their top 3 players, which there's no way Brooklyn would ever do that trade because that doesn't make. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm going to Miami. I'm going. If you don't put Bam in the deal, we're not talking. I don't know how Phoenix would work necessarily. So I think that the best fit for him is probably the Toronto Raptors because he very much fits with what they want to do. Masai Ujiri, first of all, one of the best GMs of all time, he really likes the positionless 6'6" to 6'9" guy who can dribble, pass, and shoot. Kevin Durant, let's say he's 6'9", he's closer to 7 feet, but he can shoot, he can dribble, and he can pass for the most part. Now, the question would then be, would Toronto be willing to give up Scotty Barnes? Personally, I think if you're getting Kevin Durant, I think it's a conversation worth having. It depends on what you think about him aging gracefully. I think he's going to be a 25 point per game scorer until he's 39. So for me, it'd be Toronto because I think they have a deep asset pool. They've got plenty of guys that they can move on affordable contracts. If Brooklyn wants players, they can bring back FVV. They can bring back Gary Trent, Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes. There's plenty of bench players they could bring in that are really interesting, and they've got their own first round picks. Toronto is very much set up for a consolidation trade to get Kevin Durant. The sleeper fit that I would say is the Atlanta Hawks, because him and Trae Young together would make a dynamic offense. The issue with Atlanta is they just traded a bunch of their first round picks. They don't have the same asset collection. But I also think that they have the best player that would be available for trade in John Collins. Because if you were to put John Collins on a team that doesn't have, Trae Young and Clint Capella hogging up all the pick and roll touches, he could be a 20 and 10 guy easy.
I definitely agree with the Masai Ujiri part. Think about it. He's the same guy who traded the beloved DeMar DeRozan for Kawhi Leonard and won the title in the first year they were there. And I think they're definitely GMs are going to prioritize winning over any other thing. So I definitely like the Raptors pick, but I'm not sure if this trade would be possible. Okay, but in an imaginary world, that's where I'm going with this one. The Denver Nuggets should trade for Kevin Durant. And here is why. I think if you are able to give away Jamal Murray, that's right, give away Jamal Murray and a couple of picks, maybe some collateral, some players, and be able to compare Nikola Jokic with Kevin Durant, the Denver Nuggets would undoubtedly, to me, be the team to beat in the Western Conference. If you want to talk about fit and pair for pair, everyone loves KD and LeBron for why? Because LeBron is the ultimate passer and Kyrie is the ultimate scorer. Why not do that with somebody who has bigger size and can move the ball just as well? So if you pair Nikola Jokic, to me, one of the best passers in the NBA, with Kevin Durant, the best scorer in the NBA, why wouldn't it work? And Kevin Durant wants to play team basketball. That's all the Nuggets do. They all move around. They all pass the ball. They all have a good defensive scheme. So why not pair those two together for a package? And Brooklyn gets Jamal Murray, a star. I know he's coming off an injury, but a person who can turn up in the playoffs. So why not pair those two guys together? And you have a killer on offense now that takes the pressure off of Jokic, and they definitely become a huge threat in the Western Conference. And they take Kevin Durant out of the East, which has all the superstars, and you put them in the West where they can make a little noise. I like
I
Denver.
didn't even think about that, but that when you say it out loud, it makes a lot of sense. The only issue would probably be the money and
Yeah,
figuring out how many picks you can send out, because I don't know. According to the NBA is the most regulated league in the world, which annoys me to no end because of like all the draft pick rules that they have.
right.
I would love to know how many picks they have available to move. And also, I guess to make the money work, they probably have to include like an Aaron Gordon
Mm-hmm.
type. Will Barton would have been perfect, but they just traded him. So I don't know. The idea, as the fit would be fantastic. The only question I would have is, what are they doing on defense?
That's true as well.
Because if you have Kevin Durant, they still have Michael Porter Jr. too. So the
Right.
offense would go crazy. But those three guys aren't exactly plus defenders.
Kevin Durant isn't that bad defensively though.
He's not that bad, but he's not the guy that you want to be like your number one
Yeah.
wing
But of course,
defender.
they would, like I said, they would probably need some extra benefits to it. But I feel like just having those two would be a huge threat to everyone else.
At that point, with that passer and those two shooters, you might as well just
Yeah,
go, we'll finish 20th to have the greatest offense of all time.
that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, it
I
definitely makes
like it. I actually kind of like your pick better than mine, honestly.
I was thinking, but I was trying to find something different.
I said, of
But that's
course.
gonna wrap up our episode. Josh, do you have anything to say?
Well, Cam, if they're not sending their takes in to tell us why we picked the wrong team or why Kevin Durant is actually like this upstanding citizen and a saint and deserves a statue outside both OKC, Golden State, and Brooklyn, they should just go ahead and send their takes in, right?
Definitely,
Right.
because some people
They
think
all
that.
have us on Instagram. Most of them have our number or our Snapchat. Send us a video, explain why you believe what you believe, and then allow us to respond to it. Put your money where your mouth is. Don't hide behind the computer screen. Put
Everyone
it
likes
out there to the world.
yeah. Everyone likes to hide behind that computer screen. And I
Trigger
usually don't
fingers
take
turned to
time.
Twitter fingers. Drake had it right.
And I usually don't want to. I usually don't shout out my teams all the time. I mean, I kind of do from time to time. But I know you guys saw Chet last night. I know y'all saw them Thunder last night. It's okay. I saw you saw Giddy last night, Josh. We coming.
Yeah,
We
he got
coming.
hounded by Jordan Usher.
We coming. That's
Nah,
all I'm saying.
OKC's going to look great when all these middle schoolers get to the NBA draft.
We coming. But that's gonna wrap our episode. We see you guys later. Takeover out.
Hey, champ. Yeah, we play it all in night. Yeah, need it all in advance. The opposition know we're ready for it. Like a supper we eating, it won't be the last. Grind all the muscle, pull up. Parker right on the grass. We coming in, take over everything, run it up. Nothing holding me back. 3 in the wood, rushing. I don't like Dutch, don't even matter, you know I'm a facing. When I roll a paper, I like to go double. Run up a check, flip a W, make it an M. I need